Welcome back to the Cabbage Patch. I'm Dad.
I'm Tommy. And I'm Gus.
And today we played Dungeons and
Dragons.
Dragons. The adventure begins. And I'd show you the game box, but right now it's full of stuff.
That was pretty synchronized.
It was pretty synchronized, wasn't it? Let me actually get... No, the box is still full of stuff, so I can't show you the box. But it comes in a game box about yay big, and it is a simplified version of Dungeons and Dragons, right? Mm-hmm. So instead of rolling dice to create your character, you pick your character from these pre-made character cards that have different sides. So each color, the elf has 4 different character classes that he can be. He can be the rebel or the scholar, and he can be they can be male or female by your choice, and that lets you get your starting character sorted out. And then the hit points are tracked on this slider at the bottom of each one of these character cards. So you pick your character, then you pick what you want to be in your backpack, and this is not this is sort of player's choice, right? So you go through these backpack cards and you say, what do I want to have in my backpack? I want the Dungeoneer's backpack. So I want some maps, some rope, a vial of acid, and torch and flint. And the 4 character types are the dwarf, the dragonborn, the elf, and the one we didn't use because there's only 3 of us was the human, the sorcerer, human magic user, right? And then you, before you start, you pick what you want your final boss to be. And the choices are a beholder, or a fire giant, or a kraken, or a dragon. And then based on that final choice, that's what dictates your end map here. So you see if you can see the whole map here, you've got 4 map pieces. Gondelgrim, Mount Hotnow, Neverwinter, and Neverwinter Wood. And you're supposed to lay them out in random, except for this last one, which is going to match. There's a symbol on the bottom of the card here. It's going to match the monster that you've chosen to be the boss. So whichever map tile matches that bottom symbol, that's what ends up being your final destination. And then you lay the rest of the map out in random. Right? And there's only 3. So there's not a lot of variability. It doesn't really need that. And then depending on which monster you took, you get a deck of these adventure cards that get shuffled and loaded into the Dungeon Master deck. And the Dungeon Master deck comes with 2 things. It comes with a little damage tracker for the creature cards and a Dungeon Master dice, which is a 10-sided dice. Right? And then each player gets their own 20-sided dice. So we start off at the beginning, and we each pick our character markers here. And there's 1 character for each color. So the character models actually look pretty decent. They don't look quite as good as the models from Draco, but they look pretty good. And they start off at the beginning. And if you really want, like Gus did, you can choose to use your D&D figure that you use when you actually play real D&D. And then you move through the map. And you move through 1 space at a time, and you can decide to go off on side paths to encounter more and more stuff. And each time you move into a new space, you draw one of these adventure cards. And then the players take turns being the Dungeon Master. So I'd start first, and I'd read this adventure card, and it would have some information on it, and then we might have to do a thing. And the fun thing about that is it could be a creature, in which case we have to fight. And that's pretty standard D&D fighting, where you roll for initiative, you figure out who goes first, and then on your character card, it's got the combat statistics, right? So for a level 1 elf guy, he can use his double-bladed scimitar. I'm sorry, a level 1. He can use his short bow, and if he rolls a 5 or better, he hits and does a point of damage. Or he can use his attack spell, Hideous Laughter, and do 2 points of damage if he rolls a 12 or better. And then the monster gets to fight back. And depending on the monster card, we'll get that in a second, there's different stats for the monster. But not all the cards are monsters. Some of them are just encounters. So this one, for instance, says, proceed with caution. And the Dungeon Master whoever it is supposed to read this card. Read that card.
Proceed with caution. You come to a room with a hippogriff standing guard at a word's treasure. Figure out how to distract it so you can loot that stash.
Okay, so the hippogriff is guarding a treasure, and then it says each player has to come up with a plan, and then all players individually roll to see if they succeed. So, I would say I'm going to sing a beautiful song to the hippogriff and say, "Look over there!" And then I would roll my, for this case it's a 20-sided dice. I'd roll my 20-sided dice and see if I was successful. And I rolled between, it says 1 to 10, you fail.
And he rolled a 5, so he...
I rolled a 5. It screeches and nips your fingers when you get too close. If I rolled an 11 or better, the hippogriff moves long enough for you to snatch some gold and you get a treasure. And the treasures that you get when you win treasures either by defeating monsters or solving these puzzles count towards experience. So when you do a thing, you get a treasure. When you defeat a monster, you get a treasure. Sometimes you get items and other things, but mostly it's treasure. And when you get enough treasure, you can level up. And on your character cards, there's a level. This is level 1. This is level 2. And that basically makes it easier for you to do more damage when you do fights. Right? And then once per map segment, each character usually has a special ability. The wizard, I think it's the wizard. No, it's not the wizard. One of them is able to actually heal other people in the party, but most of the time it's a special attack of some sort, right? Or re-roll a dice, or re-roll that attack and do it again, or something like that. So you move the map one space at a time. You draw the encounter cards. You take turns being the dungeon master, right?
Yes.
And at the end of each map, there's a special boss monster. Or special boss encounter. It's not always a monster. And the special boss monsters have more hit points. So when you fight a monster, you take these cards and you put the little hit point counter on the top of the card. And then whoever's playing the dungeon master puts that card up here so the other people can see it. And then we take turns rolling to defeat it. This particular monster only had 4 hit points, so it was really easy to defeat. And when it hit you, it only did 1 point of damage. And when you defeated it, you got an experience point. So it's a little like real D&D. What's sort of different about this from real quote unquote real D&D?
Well, you have much less character creation abilities.
Much less character creation.
No creating the story.
No real creating the story. The story is created for you by the cards.
And much less... You get much less creation. I already pointed that out.
Much less...
Oh no.
Much less ability to respond to something creatively, right? So you can't say, I want to do a thing if you're facing the monster. Although there is a little bit of that here. For instance, my level 1 a special ability is called Theatrical Distraction. And I'm supposed to describe how I would get the monster's attention using musical instruments or items in my backpack and roll to see if I did damage to it. And you might do the same thing, right? So each character's got their own sort of special thing where they get to describe what they want to do, but the outcome is pretty much the same. So it's not really based on ability just like it is in D&D, right? And that's it. I think the thing that confuses me, we've played this several times. It used to be one of Gus's favorite games. The thing that confuses me is exactly how the experience is supposed to work. We've played it both ways, where we just get one experience for whoever killed it, or we get one experience for everybody, and then
an extra one for whoever.
And an extra one for whoever killed it. Although I think that this is actually for the main boss monsters, so that you can flip the thing around to keep track of its life. But it kind of works that it looks like there's a thing there. But it doesn't matter. It's D&D. We're allowed to do whatever we want.
And so far, I found one of them where you actually use your hands to do a thumb war, and
oh yeah,
gets a point.
Yeah. So in the playthrough, it was whoever rolled the highest and the lowest dice had to do a thumb war. So we
And
would have to do a
So if you play this game,
1, 2, 3, 4. I declare thumb war, and then I had to get against Tommy, and then whoever won, whoever won, got the experience
I'll
point. No, we're not going to do it now. We'll do it later. We'll do it later.
but make sure, please, beg and plead, or just give up if your opponent has a bigger
You're in
hand
the
than
light,
you.
buddy. You're in the.
If your opponent
Yeah,
has a
thank
much
you.
bigger
You're
hand
in
than you,
that- you're
because
in that
they're
light.
definitely going to win or smush your fingers.
Yeah, that's right. So, it's pretty straightforward. You crawl through the dungeon to the end. The adventure cards don't really match, and I'm still not sure that we're doing the adventure cards right because there's a combination of monsters and encounters here. So it's unclear what you're supposed to do with some of that. But otherwise, it's pretty, for people who've never played D&D before, it's pretty fun. And it gets you the sense of it without, spending hours and hours and hours, rolling up new characters and that sort of thing. What didn't you like about it, Gus? Well, the answer could be not. You could just like it perfectly.
I like both of these.
Yeah. All right.
I don't really have anything
What was your
better.
favorite part of it then?
Probably the lightning breath.
The lightning. So the character abilities.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Tommy? What's your favorite part of
And
it?
the fact that I can hit people with a frying pan.
And you can hit people with a frying pan because one of your backpack that you choose usually has a frying pan in it.
My favorite part is the baby Albert.
The items. So part of the thing is as you gain experience, and you can spend some of those coins, to get item cards, and the item cards do things like help you heal, or help you do more damage, or prevent damage.
You can also get an item card from killing something that has.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you can also get an item card from killing something that's got an item card as part of its reward. Yep.
Well, we can't see this, but there's
Yeah, I think I can see it. It's pretty close.
You get an item from.
So you get items. So the items help you heal. The items help you do more damage. The items help you survive the dungeon.
And what else? What else do we have?
So I think the things that I'm still not entirely sure we're doing correctly are the rules around experience and the rules around item collection. But otherwise, that's it. It's pretty straightforward. It's really simple. It's a great introduction to D&D because you get to do a little acting, right? You get to do a little role playing because the cards make you different adventure decks make you do different things like sing or tell a story or hum a tune or any number of things, right?
And I won the tune humming
You
contest.
did win the tune humming contest. That's absolutely true. It's a good intro. Do you prefer real D&D or this?
A real D&D.
Real D&D. And
But this would make a good standalone game.
it is a standalone game, so it has made a good standalone game. I like the components. I think the components are nice. I know Gus doesn't like the Dragonborn character, but I think the miniatures are pretty decent for what they are. I think the artwork on the maps is really nice. And I think the artwork on the cards are really nice. And for not having a lot of choice, these cards have double sides for everything. So you can really customize your character a little bit more than just pulling one out of the box like previous versions of D&D beginner sets have done, where you've just been given a whole character with no customization and you just play with that. And that's it. Anything else?
No.
All right. So what are we going to give this game today?
2.5.
I'm going to give it 2.5.
It is indeed a pretty fun game.
So how many cabbages are you going to give it?
I feel like a lot of the things I play deserve more than a 3, so we may have to upgrade our things out to a 2 out of 10.
Well,
To a something out of 10.
so for now we can't. So are you going to give it a 2?
I'm going to give it a 3.
You're going to give it a 3.
Yeah, I really like it.
You like it as much as you like Draco?
If not more.
Okay, because it's D&D.
It's
closer to D&D than Draco.
That is true. It's got beholders. It's got dragons. It's got fire giants. It's got lots of encounters. It's got classic character classes, and it's got a Neverwinter map, right? So this is the Neverwinter universe, Neverwinter campaign setting. Neverwinter Wood, the town of Neverwinter, Mount Hotenow, and Gottlegrim. Those are all from a classic classic campaign setting.
Neverwinter.
Yeah.
Video game.
Well, not just it's not a video game. It's a campaign setting.
It's a video game and a campaign setting.
It's a campaign setting, absolutely.
Maybe in my own.
All right. So you're giving it a 3, and you're giving it a 3.
2.5.
I'm only going to give it a 2. I've liked the other games. I like the structure of the other games, although it is a really good introduction to fantasy games.
Maybe we should do like a short D&D adventure for next
Maybe we can do that. That might be interesting. We can probably try to figure that out. It's hard with just 3 people. So when you just have 3 people and you really want a D&D fix, this is good.
So total score
8.
7 to 8.
7 to 8. 7 to 8. So total score 7 to 8. You get to play with color-coded 20-sided dice. You get some cool miniatures to walk around the map. And you get to tell some pretty good stories. All right. So that's it. Who wants to do the outro?
Subscribe, like, hit that bell, comment, leave a comment if you wish. Eat any cabbages, not us though.
And that is all. And we will see you next time. Thanks for watching.